what is input parameters and what is output parameters. So input parameters. So before starting the process, whatever the value we are going to assign, that is nothing but the input parameters. Output parameters. After completion of the
Uh,
process.
Dinesh,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Your voice seems to be a bit slow. Not sure whether it's only who is facing that issue.
So what about others?
Uh, I'm able to hear properly, Dinesh.
Okay. Gopal Krishna, check from your end once.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you, but I found to be
Okay.
bit low in your voice. Okay, no problem. You carry on. Take care.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Okay. Now, so how to use input parameters and output parameters? Input parameters, always we have to use that in a start page. Output parameters, always we have to use that in a end stage. Input is start, output is end. So here, if you have any values already for the data items or whatever it may be, so we can override the values. Initial values can be overwritten by your parameterized values. What it mean by that exactly? For example, in last class we discussed about this circular path, right? We will take the same example and we will see so how to work with the input and output parameters. Just a minute. Circular path. Okay. Here what we have done last class, we created a minimum value and we created a maximum value, and so it has been so going for a loop. So until unless if the minimum value is less than maximum. Here initial value 0. We declare this. Maximum value 6. We assign these values so for these data items, right? But we don't want to assign these values manually. We need to assign these values through some other process. It has to come through some other process. For example, let me tell you, when you are swiping your credit card, it has to calculate unbilled amount, unbilled amount plus swipe amount. It should be less than or equal to credit limit. Then only your transaction will be succeeded. Otherwise, our transaction will be declined. Right? This unbilled amount, so it should be calculated from some other process. So it is calculating through some other process. It will check so all your transaction, how many transaction it has been happen for that particular month, and then it will calculate plus swiped amount. At that moment after time, whatever the amount you are trying to swipe, that is a swiped amount. So this, for this amount, it will calculate another process. It will run another process in the backend. And credit limit, it is fixed. Credit limit, it will be fixed. For example, credit limit is 1 lakh. Assume that unbilled amount already. So previous month, so he has swiped so 4 to 5 times. So it is like totally it's if they calculate, so it will come around. So for example, so 60,000 plus. Now you are trying to swipe some again 50,000. 60 plus 50, 110. 1 lakh 10,000. It will not allow. It should be less than or equal to credit limit. No, this is not true. then it will not allow. From where swiped amount is coming? Through some other process. From where unbilled amount is coming? Through some other process. We are not giving any hard coded values here, right? It is coming through the process. So in this situation, we are going to use input and output parameters. Input and output parameters. We will take the value of unbilled amount from some other process, and we will give this value for this complete process when it is checking the condition. For example, here we have minimum value and maximum value. This minimum value and maximum value, it should not take hard coded values. It has to take some other values through the process. How to give, how to assign values, and how to create a parameters here. Start page, observe input. Come to the end page, observe output. Input and output. Now coming to here, input parameters, where we are using values, there we need to create a parameters. We need to create parameters. Remember this. Where we are using values, there we need to create a parameters. And where we are calling the process, there we need to assign values for parameters. It means where we are using values, there we need to create a parameters. Once the parameter is created, then we need to assign values for the parameters where you are calling that process. In this example, here we are using values, but we are not calling this anywhere, right? To do that, so what we will do is, I will copy the process, complete process. We will create another process here. Close it. Yes. Create a process. Parameters. Double click. In first page, we will just give a link. Now, in a page 1, we are going to copy that process. Whatever the process we copied, you can able to copy the process. Start page will not be, it will not take, yeah. Now everything we have here. Now we need to, if you want to run the page 1, then we need to create a reference in a main page. Otherwise it's not possible. Page, create a reference, page 1, finish. Give the link. Reset. Enter. Now it is in page 1. Now when you are running this main page, it will run. Now if you observe here, in this page we are using these values. Here we need to create a parameter. In this main page, you are calling the page 1 process. Here we need to assign the values. Observe page 1. Do you have any input? Do you have any output for this? For page 1, nothing. We don't have anything because we didn't created any parameter. Come to this page 1. Now we will create a parameters here. Two parameters. One is for minimum value, one is for maximum value. We have two values. Double click. Add. One is, we will take it as a first, and another one second. Now come to this number, second number, and observe We created a parameters. It is asking where you need to store these parameter values. Where you need to store these parameters. First has to be stored in minimum value. Second has to be stored in maximum value. We created, and then we are telling that we need to assign these values to here. Whatever the values it will come to first and second, it is going to store in this minimum and maximum. Now we created a parameter in the page 1. Come to main page. Observe this. First and second. Observe the values. We need to assign values here. It is asking the value. Give me the value for first. Give me the value for second. Here, so we will give some value. So like this. 105. Here also we are hard coding, but so going forward, so when we are working with some other process, we will see how to assign these values through some other process. For example, assume that these values will be there in an Excel file, or these values coming from through the process. Then we are going to pick those values and we are going to assign those values to this particular value here. That is possible. We will see that how to work with that. Now here we are assigning these values. First will be 99, second will be 105. When you assign these values, when you are running this process, it will start, it will come to the page 1. It will check, do you have any parameters for this? Yes, we have parameters. It will pick the values for the first and second and come to the page 1. So when it is starting, it will check those parameters values, whatever the values it has taken for first and second. These values it will store in minimum and maximum. Okay, but already we have a value for minimum and maximum. What is going to be happen for this? These values will be overwritten by parameterized values. Always parameterized values will have highest priority. It is going to overwrite your initial values. Now reset. We are going to run this. Just observe what is happening. Observe this. It's taken 105, 100 and 105. Minimum value and maximum value has been changed. Right? So like this, we can able to use input parameters. Remember, input parameters, we have to use it in a start page, and we need to create the parameters where we are using. There you need to create a parameters from where you are calling the process. There we need to assign the value for the parameters. Okay. Now,
Dinesh,
yeah,
can you please go to that properties where you have created the parameters?
in start page. Yeah.
Okay. And we don't need to create anything in that main page, right?
Not required. Once you create it here,
Okay.
automatically, so it will be available here. It will show you. So because we are in
Okay.
page 1, already we have a input
Mm-hmm.
parameters for this. It is asking the value. Just we need to assign the value for
Okay.
this. That's it. Same way, for example, if
Okay.
you observe, we don't have output, right? Because we didn't created anything.
Yeah.
Here, if you create
Okay.
the output in a page 1, then you can able to see the output there. Okay. Now, requirement is, so here whatever the value, the minimum value it is taking, it is reaching to which value it is reaching to the minimum value here. We need to take this value and then we need to see this output result in the main page. Can you able to see? So what is the value up to which value it is going for the minimum value? Can you able to see here in a main page? No, right? So we need to see that value in the main page. Then what we need to do is, after completion of the process, the minimum value is taking this value, right? Before that it's a some other different value. After completion of the process, we need a value of the minimum into main page. After completion of the process, that is output. After the completion of the process, only output will be generated. Double click, output, add, out, data type. So not required. Automatically, observe this, minimum. We need a minimum. What we are doing here, we created, at the same time we assigned a value here. For output parameter, remember, so we need to create a parameter, at the same time we are assigning value to the parameter. For output, we are creating and assigning value for parameter where output is generating. We are creating and assigning the value for the parameter where output is generating. Is it clear what it means by that? Here output is generating, where the output is generating, this is our output, minimum value. After completion of the process, this minimum value is holding this value. Here output is generated after completion of the process. Here in the end we are creating a parameter and then we are assigning the value for the parameter. Both the things we are doing at the same place. Once you created and once you assign, we can able to use that from where you are calling the process. Here we are calling the process. Double click on the page. Observe, out. Yes. Alright. Where you need to store in. We are calling here. See this? Store in, out. Where we are calling, there we are calling process. There we are using this, right? So where we are calling that particular process, there we are using parameter, or we are generating parameter, whatever it may be. Observe this. I'm sorry. Page 1. We assigned a value, and in a main page we are calling the process. Double click. Here we are just generating, or we are using this value, using this parameter. Output already available. So where you need to store that? You need to store that in a, again, out. Now if you run this process, it will take the value of that particular output generated in a page 1. It will give it to main page. Reset. Now just trigger this process. Observe, 99105. If you reset, what it will do here, it will take the values to the initial stage. That is the reset properties. It will go to 0 and 5, 0 and 6. But when you are running during the runtime, the values is going to take this. During the runtime only, the values is going to assign to the parameters. Now it's assigned first time. See this output value. Again, I'm going to reset. Observe, it's gone. Come to the page 1. Observe this, it's gone. During the runtime only, the parameters we are assigning to process. Input parameters during the runtime, we are going to assign the value to that parameters. After completion of the process, we are going to take the value, that is output parameters. Okay, is it clear? This one, input and output parameters, how to, it is very important going forward when we are working with automating any process, automating any application. So when you are working with any inbuilt business objects, we are going to use these input and output parameters. Okay. Okay, if you don't have any errors, we'll go to another topic. Is it clear, everyone?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay,
Yeah, it's clear.
thank you. Fine. Now we will jump into another process. Just give me 2 minutes, guys. So till now, so whatever the things we have discussed, everything we created in a process studio, right? So each and every process, whatever the process we created, we have done it in a process studio. We have another option called object studio also, right? Observe this. We have a object studio. When we are going to implement object studio, in which situation we have to go for object studio? In object studio, if you want to create any user defined business objects, then we have to go for object studio. Or if you want to use any inbuilt business objects, any inbuilt business objects, then we have to go for object studio. What it mean by that? For example, you need to work with Excel file, you want to work with Word, or you want to work with database connectivity, or you want to work with calendar, if you want to work with email automation, all these things are already inbuilt, predefined in a Blue Prism. No need to create separately. It's already available. We can able to use readily. We can able to use that in your process studio or in your object studio. We have some inbuilt business objects. It's readily available. Whichever the things you are going to use very frequently, it's a universal requirement. Those things we create already. Blue Prism has been created in as a business objects. If you want to see this business object, just observe. Go to File, Import, Browse. Observe this. So where your Blue Prism has been installed. So this one will be C. Observe. Sorry. C program files. I will show you where it is available. C. Go to program files where your Blue Prism is installed. Blue Prism Limited, Blue Prism Automate, and then VBO. Visual Basic Objects. All these are inbuilt business objects. It's readily available. We can use these things in our process or in our object studio. But if you want to work with any of these business object, must and should, you need to import. It should be available in your object studio. We need to import it. Then only we can able to work with this. For example, if you want to work with Excel file, select that Excel. and then try to open, and then next, automatically it is going to import. It's already imported in this machine. That's why it is asking, do you want to overwrite? I'm going to cancel. Once you imported, observe MS Excel VBO. This is the business objects. Internally already it has been created by Blue Prism. We are going to use that. If you want to use that, we need to import it first. We have to import it. And so how they have created this? They created by using a object studio. They created by using object studio. For example, if you want to work with Notepad, if you want to work with Facebook, you need to automate your Facebook account, or you need to automate so your Windows Media Player or your VLC Media Player. Then what we have to do? We need to create a business object, that is user defined business objects. If you want to work with a Windows Media Player, if you want to automate, so when you start the process, automatically it has to go to Windows Media Player, it has to play your videos, it has to play your songs. Or when you are automating your Facebook automatically, so when you are running the process, it has to go to your Facebook, it will launch, and then it will go to sign in, and then it will type a message, and it has to send a message to all your friends, hi, very good morning. So this requirement, then that is our requirement, right? That is not a universal requirement. Then we have to create user defined business objects. To do that, we will use a object studio. If you want to work with any application, then we have to go for object studio, must and should. Any application, if you are going to use, we need to use objects. Application is nothing but a objects here. In application we will have objects, right? Different objects, different properties, different functionalities. We'll call it here as a objects. So here, for example, we will see what is the difference between process and object. I will create, I will see any one thing. For example, create a process sample process. Now this is a process. Now this is process studio, right? This is process studio, and I will open the object studio. Just observe what are the things we will have. We'll create a folder, group, sorry, created a group. Under this group we will create a object sample object. Look. Now object created. Observe. Now this is the object studio. Both are look similar, right? Now if you observe here, backend, what you can able to see, this one is a object studio. This one, what you can able to see here, this one is a process studio, right? Now just observe the difference in between these two things. What you can able to see it here. Observe both the things. First observe the shapes. What all the shapes we have so available in your object studio, those it is not available in a process studio. If you observe the
We can
shapes here,
find some like navigate code.
yes, exactly. So if you observe here, observe this, we have a read, we have write, we have navigate, code, and then wait. All these are extra shapes available in your object studio. We don't have these things in your process studio. So to work with any application, we are going to use read, write, navigate, and wait. All the shapes we will use to work with any user defined business. You need to create any user defined business object. If you want to create any user defined business object, you have to go for these shapes: navigate, wait, write, read. All the shapes we will use to work with user defined business object. Code is different. We will discuss later. These things is not available in Process Studio. It means we can't able to create a business object in a Process Studio. We can able to create business object only in Object Studio only. It's not possible in Process. Okay. Now, any other differences? Observe here. If you observe here, we have only one main page. But coming to here, initialize, cleanup, and action. This is a page, right? Why this is calling it here as a action? Remember, in Object Studio, every process or every page, we will call it as a action. We are going to call that as a action. Action is nothing but in Object Studio, it's nothing but a process. But we will call that as a action. Whatever the thing we are going to create, whatever the actions you are going to create in your Object Studio, everything will be reusable by using action stage. If you create some process here, this process you can able to reuse in your process, in your object, by using action stage. Observe this. We have a action shape. Observe here also, Process Studio also we have a action shape. Action shape we will use to reuse your object actions. Object actions. Actions is nothing but pages here. We will use action shape to reuse your actions in Object Studio. Okay, what it means by that exactly? And we will see that initialize and cleanup. We are not going to do anything with this. Initialize is initialize, so it will enable the properties to work with a action. And cleanup, so it will, once the action is completed, it is going to close that particular business object. It will initialize the business object to work with, it will close the business object. That's it. And then action, we need to create action. Once you create the action here, then you can able to use this action in your Process Studio. What it mean by the actions here? Actions means each and every option in your application, each and every task in your application is a separate action. This statement is very important. Each and every task or option is a separate action in Object Studio. Each and every task or option is a separate action in Object Studio. Each and every task or option in application. Each and every option or task in application is a separate action in Object Studio. What it means by that? For example, come to Notepad, any Notepad. In this Notepad is separate application, right? Calculator is application. In the Notepad, how many options you can able to perform? How many tasks you can able to perform? First, we are going to launch the Notepad. If you want to launch, we will go to browser. So we'll go to start button and we'll type Notepad, and then we will clicking on the Notepad. That is one task, one option. And we are going to type something on a notepad. That is another option, another task. After that, I am clicking on a file. That is another option. After that, I am clicking on a save. That is another task. After I want to change the font, I'm clicking on a font, and then I will click on a word wrap or font. That is another option. Or if you want to edit each and every options, observe this, each and every options is a separate action in your object studio. We need to create separately, then only we can able to work with that. Okay, so now another thing, we came to know what it meant by that exactly when we are so implementing this. Now another option is, another so things is the differences is, if you observe here, launch, application modular. We have another two things, launch and application modular. So what we are going to do with this application modular, if you want to work with any application, must and should, we need to create a application by using the application modular. What it mean by creating application? It's nothing but we are pulling that application to Object Studio. Once you create the application, then we can able to launch. For example, when you working with the Excel file, what we are going to do? We are going to double click on the Excel file, right? When you double click or when you open, right click and then open, then what is going to be happen in a backend? It can be with any application. For example, you have a Windows Media Player. What you are going to do? You are going to double click to work with that. If you have a VLC, double click VLC, it will open. Notepad, you are going to right click and then open, or click, then only Notepad will open, right? So when you do that, so what is happening in the backend? It is going to work with a executable file, right? It will launch your executable file and then it will open. Same thing, we are going to launch your application by using application modular with that executable file. When you are working with application modular, we need to tell where your executable file is available. Application modular, we need to create application with the help of executable file. So if you are, so Excel file is in D drive, if your Excel file is so in so C drive or so E drive, you will go to that particular drive and you are going to right click and then you will open, it will automatically it will launch, right? But if you want to work with the executable file, so it automatically, say in the backend, it will run the so executable files and it will try to open the file. Fine, well and good. But when you are working with the application, how come it will know that where the executable file is available, right? It doesn't know anything. If you are performing on so any so task on your machine, for example, right click. So here I'm going to right click, sorry, desktop. If I right click and then if we can able to create a folder, right? When you click on the creative folder will be created. But is what is going to be happen in the backend? In a command prompt, it will write a command like mk directory folder name, so and then path, right? Same way, for example, if you copy something, what is going to be happen in the backend? It will going to write a command prompt, so copy path, from which path, and then to which path you need to paste it. So those program will be written in the command prompt in the backend, but you can't able to see that. Same way here, when you are working with your application modular, so you need to assign where our executable file is available. So when we need to create a application by using application modular, first we need to launch. It means launching the application. Indirectly we are launching your application. If you want to work with a notepad, you need to launch your application by using application modular. So then only we can go further. We can implement some other task. Otherwise, it is not possible. Must and should, you need to launch your application through application modular only. If you want to work with a notepad, you need to launch the notepad through application modular. If you want to work with media player, you need to launch media player through application modular. If you want to work with your Facebook account, you want to automate your Facebook, you need to launch your Facebook through application modular. Everything has to be launched through your application modular. Once it's launched, we can able to work with that. What exactly we are going to do with this? For example, what we are going to do is with the application, we will create an application. After that, we are going to spy or cloning or automating. Don't get confused. Almost all are same. Properties. Spying, cloning, or automating that properties. What it mean by spying and what it mean by cloning? It's nothing but duplicating the object properties. Duplicating that particular object properties is nothing but spying and cloning. When you want to work with notepad, for example, in a notepad, I need to work with a file option. I need to click on a file by using this blue prism. Here the notepad is launched. If I click on a file, then it will work exactly. It will open these options. But when you are working with a blue prism, how come this note? So it will understand it has to click on a file, right? What we are going to do is we are going to spy this file. When you spied it, it will pick all the properties of this particular file. When you spy this edit, it will pick all the properties of this particular edit button, edit option. When you spy this complete window, this box where you need to type, then it is going to pick all the properties of this particular window. When it is spied, when you are using that in your object, then it is going to behave same as how the file is behaving here. When you click on a file, how it is behaving here, the same way it is going to work. When you click on a edit, how it is behaving here, the same way it is going to work. It is nothing but duplicating your object properties. Exactly, it will work same as this particular object. That's why we are going to spy. We will see that. So it's another, it will take some time to implement that. We will see that in a next class, how to spy, how to work with the object, and what all the options we have for spying, how many modes we can able to spy, and then what exactly it mean by spying, how it is going to capture the properties, how to work with a business objects. So most of the time, so as a blue prism developer, you are going to create user defined business object based on your application. When you are creating, when you are automating your user defined business object, when you are automating any application, so you are going to use all the remaining things, like whatever the things till now we have discussed, all those things we will take a help. Collection, data items, and then decision, everything we will use when we are automating any process. Main thing is we need to create objects in your application just now. So for example, I will show you for your to get one idea how it looks like. Inbuilt application I will open and then just observe this how it looks like. Then we will see. So in next class we will see how to work with user defined business application. Then you will get so clear idea on that. Here we imported MS Excel VBO. It's already inbuilt by Blue Prism. We didn't created anything. in a Excel file, how many options we will have? N number of options, right? N number of options, N number of tasks we can able to perform in a Excel. Copy, paste, creating a sheet, adding a sheet, font change, adding a column, adding a row, so many things, deleting a cell, deleting a row, deleting a column, and then macros, and then copy, paste, save as, n number of things you can able to perform. Each and every option, each and every task in a Excel is a separate action, right? Now observe this MS Excel video. I'm trying to open this one. Observe how many options we have here. See this? Did we created this? No, we didn't create it. Already it has been created by Blue Prism. How many actions we have here? All these are actions. We will call that as a actions. We are going to call these actions by using action stage. Now, how many actions we have in Excel? If you want to check, observe this. See this? Open, create, set, show the workbook, hide, create workbook, open workbook, and then save workbook. Workbook is nothing but a file, and then read, and then delete worksheet, create a worksheet, move the worksheet, and then copy and paste worksheet range, and then get worksheet as a collection, and so many things. See this? Go to the cell, specific cell, go to the next cell. So go to activity, go to the number, and then select, delete, insert, copy, cut, paste. Every action in your Excel, what all the things you can able to perform as a human, everything it's already created here, and then we can able to use these actions in your process studio. Only the thing is, this already it's inbuilt in. You need to understand how to use these actions. That's it. For example, if you want to use delete, observe this, delete, it will delete here. It will, when you are using that action in your process studio, it will run in the backend. This one, in the backend, it will run this process, it will run this action. If you want to use insert, if you want to copy, it will run this process in the backend. No need to create anything here, already it's available. We can use, just we will use a action called copy. Automatically it will use that particular functionality. If you insert, if you want to insert any data, you will use insert. Automatically it will use that functionality. If you want to use save as, automatically it will going to use that functionality from the object studio. No need to create anything, already it's available. So this is inbuilt user, so not user defined. If you want to work with a notepad, then we need to create a user defined. We will see that in next class, how to work with a user defined business object. Then you will get one clear idea on this, how to work with business object, how to work with the actions, how to use inbuilt actions. After that, we will go to this Excel. We will discuss about Excel also, how to work with the Excel file, how to work with the inbuilt business object. This already is existing business object, inbuilt business object. So we will need to understand how to use that. We will see how to use that inbuilt business object after the creation of user defined business object. Then you will understand very clearly. So how it has been created, how to use it. Most of the time your work will be to use inbuilt business object, then a business object, and user defined business object. You need to create a user defined business object. You need to use that in a process studio. That's it. Okay, we will see that in the next class how to do that. Okay. So any questions here?
Nothing at the moment, Dinesh. So, and when can you share that yesterday session?
So yesterday's and today's I will do that. So generally it will take like to convert that videos. So it is taking like so
Yeah.
more than 1 hour. So that's why it is taking time.
Okay.
I will together. I
Yeah.
will so do all the things. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Dinesh. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dinesh.
Yeah. Thank you very much.